everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the streaming Wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where I pick a streaming service and select three previously released films off of it. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, because this releases on a Friday, you have a whole weekend's full of movies to go check out. And this is a special one because it is HBO Max again. Yep, it's no longer Max because that decision to change it in the first place was dumb. And they have rebranded it back, and we're diving in to see what to go check out on this rebranded streaming service. And I wanted to give you some variety, and let's start off with some animation from the Studio Ghibli section on HBO Max specifically. And this is a film that I recently rewatched for my series on Hayao Miyazaki over on my YouTube channel. Shameless plugs all around. And that is Porco Rosso. And this is from 1992. In 1930s Italy, a veteran World War One pilot is cursed to look like an anthropomorphic pig. And like I said, this is a Hayao Miyazaki film. This film has great action. There's a lot of flying sequences and chases and competition in the air. And Miyazaki just has such a incredible vision for how to capture such action. And I feel like animated films don't get enough credit for how creative they can be in rendering action emotion through animation. And Miyazaki does excellent work here. This film has so many old Hollywood vibes like Casablanca and just having that feel of Rosso with his, trench coat and fedora, just giving off that like bogey kind of vibe from Humphrey Bogart. And love the will they, won't they romance at the center of this with the film's bit of a femme fatale, who, oh, I've had three pilot husbands die, and will she wind up being in love? Well, she is in love with Porco Rosso, and he loves her too. And will they get together? And the fun dynamic with Porco Rosso and his new like engineer protege, this young woman, and him going toe to toe with pirates. And just this whole entire film has so many charming elements to it. The music is perfect. It really captures the feeling of Italy and also this very classic Hollywood kind of time period. And Miyazaki shows so much passion for aviation and old Hollywood and European culture throughout this film. And Porco Rosso, our protagonist, is such an interesting character with this curse that he has and the journey that he goes on for self approval. And it's a dynamic and beautiful little film. And packs a lot into 95 minutes. And it's a wonderful experience for sure. We're going to turn the clock back to actual old like cinema with 1945's Brief Encounter. And this is from director David Lean, who would later go on to direct Bridge on the River Kwai, Lawrence of Arabia, and Dr. Zhivago, with these much bigger, epic kinds of feels. But here, instead, we have this hour and 26-minute film about meeting a stranger in a railway station. A woman is tempted to cheat on her husband. And this is very much a very personal drama. But Lean might not have the grand scope, but his camera work and the way that he engrosses the audience with his crisp, very sharp filmmaking is quite impressive, and you see his filmmaking abilities on display early on here in this early effort from him. And you have Celia Johnson and Trevor Howard delivering two very compelling performances as these two strangers who wind up building this connection. And that's the interesting thing about this film is they develop this emotional affair while also being tempted into having a physical one. And so many things really work about this film. Their dynamic, their chemistry is off the charts. This heightening tension with her at home with her husband, seems distant and maybe not the most communicative. He's a rich man and, he's kind of aloof to everything. And you can see why she's potentially seeking out this more passionate, well, British passionate kind of connection. This is very stiff upper lip, very reserved kind of affair. And that's what makes it feel so fresh and different because, like, this isn't boiling over with just like overt sexualization. There is a fiery, just element underneath the surface that keeps boiling up. And there's fun supporting characters, there's sharp filmmaking, there's great big emotional moments, and this tells a compelling story with very little runtime, just about 85 minutes, and it is engrossing, compelling, and layered as this is told in a non-linear sense and is framed in a way that it just peels back those layers and leads us to seeing what the big picture is about this dynamic. Lastly, we're going to head back to the 1970s and we're going to take a look at a Japanese horror film, House. And this is from director Nobuhiko Kobayashi. And this film focuses on a schoolgirl and six of her classmates travel to her aunt's country home, which turned out to be haunted. And this film is very dreamlike. The colors are so rich and vibrant. This has one of the most compelling looking Criterion covers with like that like orange cat. It is creepy, it's eerie. Like the ghosts are so unnerving and creepy. There's so many wild special effects that Kobayashi is able to leverage, whether it's like floating heads or thunder and lightning and electricity and all of these different kinds of things. It has such a bold visual experience and so many creative ways. There's these like hand drawn, really eerie light backgrounds at moments and conflicts. There's plenty of tension around every corner because you have no idea what's going to happen to these young women. The dark, twisted things that this haunted home has in store for them. The special effects are so creative for 1977, and it just puts you in a place where it's like farcical and darkly funny, but also really haunting and eerie and some disturbing body horror along with supernatural horror. This is such a unique cinematic experience that it's hard to describe. And like, is it particularly scary in 2025? It's unnerving. It is such an unexpected experience that it kind of puts you in a place where you're kind of shocked to see what's going on screen. And that is fresh and inviting enough to make this such a cinematic experience. And what Kobayashi was able to do, crafting this film in such a unique way. Each of these young performers are fully committed to the horrors and the weird tones and interesting developments in this very bizarre dreamlike experience. This is trippy and wild for sure, and such a unique cinematic experience. It's at least worth experiencing once. And maybe you'll be curious enough to come back a few more times too. But that is a wrap. But let's give you some summation here. So, from HBO Max, in honor of its return, its rebranding, we're going to take a look at 1992's Porco Rosso, 1945's Brief Encounter, and 1977's House. What's interesting, all of these films are like 94 minutes or less. So none of them are particularly long. Some of them are quite lean and compact, under 90 minutes, but all interesting, dynamic, and uniquely engaging films in their own right. But thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What are your favorite Miyazaki films or just Studio Ghibli in general? What are some of your favorite old school British cinematic experiences? And what are some of your go to Japanese horror films? I wonder if, like, some of them get really twisted and messed up. House is one of them, but not as dark and terrifying as others. But make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows with all different types of topics that there's a little bit of for everybody. And if you're interested in joining the crew, whether as a guest or a host of your own show, please make sure to check out our website. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the streaming wasteland here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.